Alrighty, so Patsy is out hopping around doing her thing, getting some munchies so we can get on with Flosstube. So I unfortunately have not gotten a ton done these past 2 weeks. My probably worst habit when I'm having a rough time of things is to just stop doing everything that I enjoy doing. It's a really bad habit, and it's like the opposite of what you should do for yourself. You know, when you're not having a good time of it, otherwise you should turn to your crafts or, you know, whatever brings you joy. And my worst habit is that I don't do that, so then I'm just more miserable, and then I'm like insecure about not having gotten a lot done, so then the issues just compound. Sorry, again, I'm watching the rabbit hop around. She's just so cute. And my guinea pigs are being very obnoxious, so I apologize if you can hear like the click 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 of the water bottle, but gotta drink. So yeah, a lot's been happening personally. Like, excuse me, ma'am, do not thump, I am talking. Rabbits thump when they're not happy with something, so apparently she wants me to shut up. That is not happening. So I graduated from Virginia Tech in May, and I had a job at the library. I was a metadata assistant on the Leonard Curry project, so you can look it up. There's a blog, there's photos. If you have access to the JSTOR archives, JSTOR database, you can find them. Some of them, it's still being worked on. And I absolutely love my job. I had a wonderful work environment. It was just my boss and I. And funny enough, he lives like right across the street from us. The sweetest gentleman. We had a great time, became very good friends. And because it was just the two of us, and we're both very much introverted people anyway, we got to be very, very close. He doesn't have a whole lot of family, so, you know, and I miss mine a lot. I get very homesick, you know, despite having lived away from home a couple years. So we really bonded, and this past week was my last week at that job. They allowed me to stay on over the summer as an emergency hire rather than a student worker, just so I wouldn't have to find a summer job between undergrad and grad school, which I'm very grateful for. I don't want to try to sound like an ungrateful brat. I appreciate immensely that they were willing to do that for me. They certainly didn't have to. But, so yeah, this was my last week at my job. So saying goodbye to a project I've worked so hard on for so long now, about a year and a half. You know, saying goodbye to that, realizing I'm not going to see my boss every day anymore. And I know you can hear the cat squalling, but I'm not letting him in. I'm not dealing with him right now. Love him to death, but oh my god. He's actually afraid of the rabbit, which is funny. In my warped mind, anyway. So yeah, it's been a long week. And I'm getting ready to start grad school. I actually start grad school tomorrow. So this is Sunday. I need to stop shaking the table. So this is Sunday. Tomorrow is my very first day of classes at Radford University, where I'm working on my master's of science in education with a specialization in curriculum and licensure, I think is the full degree name. And it's really intimidating. It's been hard getting paperwork squared away. People have not been as responsive as you would ideally like them to be. So it's just been very anxiety inducing at times. I'm trying to find a place to get some classroom required hours. Hello, ma'am. Try to get those in, and you know, schedules aren't lining up. It's frustrating, but working through it. We're gonna make the best of things. So yeah, it's just been a really overwhelming couple of weeks. Kind of sad. So I haven't gotten as much done. But I do have a couple of whips that I have been working on, and the progress I've made I am thrilled with. Then my big thing that I've done is dyeing fabric, actually. I had some plain bright white 16 count Aida from the craft store, just from Hobby Lobby, that I had for a silent animal, she sure is obnoxious. That I had and had gotten to die and finally got around to it. So I have a project kitted up because of that, and I have a little teeny itty bitty bit of haul. Nothing exciting, but it's a needle minder that makes me absolutely shit every time I look at it. So we're 5 minutes in, let's officially get to the stitching. So this project I didn't show in my original whip parade. It was a bit of secret stitching. Give me a second. There she is. It's definitely new having a rabbit roaming around, and my overprotectiveness is like going off the wall. So like I said, this is a bit of secret stitching. I hadn't shown it in my original whip parade with my first Flosstube because it's for my mom. So Mom, if you're watching, I told you not to watch this one. Please cut out now because I have worked very hard on this and I don't want you to see it before I give it to you. So, Mom, be gone. Alright, so if you're still watching, I have been working on the, oh, you don't have the picture of it, the Mighty Oak Quartet by Mill Hill, and I have been working on the Fall Oak. So, this was my first Mill Hill project, and if you're not familiar with Mill Hill, they're really famous for kits with lots and lots of beads. So this was my very first time doing any kind of beads on cross stitch because I'm still fairly new. So yeah, first Mill Hill, first time working with beads. I don't know that this was necessarily the best choice for a first Mill Hill, but we're getting there. And I can't say I've exactly enjoyed all of it, but we're getting there. So I just bought the kit from my local LNS, and great, this is all scrunched up. Of course it is. The kit came with a piece of, I don't know what the measurement is. I laid it on my cutting mat. It is a piece of roughly 10 1/4 square summer khaki 14 count Aida, and here is my progress on it. So I know you guys haven't seen it before, but when I started back before, all I had done before I stitched on it last week was this little bit of the sky. So I didn't even have the sky with all the leaves. I had like the first row of 10 blocks across there completely done. So since then I have stitched the rest of the sky, all the leaves, the little cat, the trunk of the tree, that little birdhouse is beaded, the little trick-or-treater, little witch at the bottom. She has a little dog with her, some pumpkins, and I did have the border done, like the box that it sits in, but that was it. And the border I really like. It's one stitch with just thread, one stitch with a coordinating bead. So now I'm down here working on the bottom where it's just this purple that I'm not a huge fan of, and then these kind of gaudy gold beads. And there's a leaf design, like here's the first leaf that's just about completely done. That goes all the way across the bottom. So originally this was one that I talked about in my last video I was going to work on until I got a finish. So spoiler alert, I didn't finish it. I don't have any finishes to show, unfortunately. But I got down to the bottom, like, you know, on a Polaroid, it's like where you write. And I just was not having fun anymore. I just, for some reason, I'm not a fan of that shade of purple. It's a lot of confetti stitching. I just wasn't in the mood for it anymore. Plus the thread that you stitch those gold beads on with is actually, let me see, I think it's just called like olive green. Yeah, it's just like an olive green color. And I do not have enough of it. I don't know where I was wasteful or if I'm just missing something, but sorry, I keep looking over there. But either way, I'm running out of thread. I'm not going to have enough to finish. So it's really frustrating. I'm going to have to color match. I believe that these flosses are just straight DMC colors, so it shouldn't be too hard, but it is frustrating when you buy a kit to have to then go buy more floss. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get this finished before too long, because this is actually for an advent calendar for my mom. Last year we were watching, think it was Brenda and Laura from Brenda and the Cereal Starter, and they were talking about how they'd gotten these Stitchy advent calendars and like just lost all self-control and opened all of them on the first day, all the doors. So we were laughing at that and, you know, commenting on how much fun a Stitchy advent calendar would be. Because when I was a kid, we got advent calendars all the time. Like, I distinctly remember, even before my brother and sister were around, getting those like paper ones that were kind of thick, like about that thick, that wide, yeah, like the size of like an 8x11 sheet of paper. And you'd like punch in the little door to pull it out every day, and there was like a piece of Christmas shaped like waxy chocolate inside. We used to hang it on the side of one of the cabinets in the kitchen near where the door was. And I just distinctly remember, oh, getting a frog in my throat, her lifting me up to open that little door. So this is for the advent calendar. We decided to do one for each other rather than purchasing them because they're so expensive. And I understand why they're expensive, but out of our price range. So this is the Christmas Eve little package for her to open up. So I'm really excited. I know she's gonna love it. She's a huge fan of fall things, so I'm really excited. And I believe I'm gonna finish this into a flat fold. I've never done a flat fold finish, but I just think as a pillow, it'll make the beads, like the volume, the loft of the pillow. She's discovered quilt fabric on my shelf. I mean, she's just like snuggling down into it. It's no big deal, but you have the whole room. But yeah, so I'm gonna make this a flat fold because I think the loft of the pillow will make the beads stick out. And my parents have 3 cats, and the one is a total asshole. So I'm definitely afraid of how the beads will hold up on a pillow. But I have done full crosses underneath of them, even though most only call for a half cross. So I would like to think it would hold up fine as a pillow, but it just makes me kind of nervous, so I'm going to finish it as a flat fold. I'm sure Vanna, the almighty Vanna Pfeiffer, has a tutorial on it, so I'm not too worried. So then the other project that I've put a lot of work into these past 2 weeks is the Supernatural Sal from the Witchy Stitcher. This is a companion to the Cryptid Sal that I finished right at the beginning of this year, that ran through most of last year. And I was a huge fan of it. I absolutely loved the Cryptid, so I immediately purchased the Supernatural Sal once it was available. And arguably, I think I was far more excited for the Supernatural Sal than I was for the Cryptids, because until the Cryptid Sal, I'd never really been much of a Cryptid fan. But nonetheless, so I have been working away on the Supernatural Sal. There's a bun somewhere. There she is. I had gotten a little bit behind, so I had to play catch up. But the last time you saw it, I believe I had up through the Changeling. So here's my progress. The first week was the Siren. Then we had the Banshee, I believe. The Werewolf, and then the Changeling. We had a week break, and then we had the Zombie, the Djinn, and now the Angel. So yeah, here's the full piece. This is on a piece of 16 count Hobby Lobby Ada that I tea-dyed myself. So yeah, there's the first 4, and there's the most recent 3. So I believe we're gonna have one more that's gonna go beside the Angel, and then we'll have a 2-week break because it's like the midpoint of the Sal. So first we had the frame, and then, you know, the order that I told you. So I got a little bit behind on the Zombie because I was missing the pink that was the brain, and I just got really discouraged and didn't want to work on it. But finished him, got caught up pretty fast on the Djinn, and I have to say, starting with the Djinn, I was not too happy with the Supernatural Sal, and I remain not too happy with it. I'm going to finish it. I've already bought everything, but I don't know that I'll be doing any more mystery Sals. So I was super happy with the first 4. I liked the Zombie, I liked all the colors in him, and he really stood out from the others. Then we got to the Djinn, and I just thought the Djinn looked far too much like the Siren. Like, let me see if I can bring them closer together, fold it. So you have the long black hair, you've got a tail that curls at the opposite side, yeah, but I don't know. Same skin colors, and I will give her credit, there was an option for a darker skin tone Jin, but I don't know. On my fabric, it didn't look quite right, so I did the light skin. And then finally, the one that I was really not happy with was the angel. So this is my angel. This is not at all what was called for. Let me pull out the photo of the angel that was included, was designed for this out. So this was the angel that was Witchy Stitcher designed, Meg. And there's nothing wrong with it. It definitely has the creepy vibe that the rest of the piece has. Here's the cat. That all of her pieces have. But I just really, oh gosh, I'm tired. I just really wasn't happy with it. It was supposed to be a biblically accurate angel. And I understand that in the Bible, you know, it says that angels have eyes freaking everywhere and they're terrifying and have so many wings and they're like horror creatures. And like I said, I do understand that that's what it says. But personally, my own set of beliefs, again, I'm not trying to force this on anybody. I believe that the Bible is full of metaphor, and although that is what it says directly, I think maybe something got lost in translation at some point, or, you know, it's a metaphor for something. That's just not what I believe angels to look like. And I'm not a super religious person, but something about it just bothered me. I just didn't like it. The shape was beautiful. I will absolutely say that. The wings, the way she had them designed with the warm tones, the gradation, and just the shape of them were beautiful. I just loved it. And like the shape of the body, I really enjoyed, but it was just the face with the 6 eyes. It wasn't what I wanted to do. So I pretty much just recharted it. So I just did like a classic Christmas church angel. She's blowing out really easily because of the white. So I did use the exact charting of the wings, the body, and even the face. I just kind of stitched together pieces of the siren and the Jinn to get the head and face shape, and then added the hair color that I wanted. And I really like her. I'm really happy with her. These are all colors that the Witchy Stitcher calls for in like the overall colors for the Sal. I didn't pull anything that wasn't included. So these are all her colors and all her pattern in some form or another. So like this white is called for. The gold is the gold that's up in the corners of the frames. The brown is the brown that's in the corners of the frames. The grays are the grays that are like in the tail of the Jinn. So I'm very happy with my version of the angel. Nothing against the one that was designed. You know, if that's what you decided to do, more power to you. It's just not personally what I wanted to put on my wall. And what followed my own personal set of beliefs. You know, again, to each his own. I don't care. And I'm not trying to say that Witchy Stitcher, her design wasn't beautiful. Her design wasn't perfect for the style. It just personally wasn't what I wanted. So, no hate on anybody. I know there was some controversy in the Facebook group. There's that one that cracks every time. There was controversy in the Facebook group over recharting her patterns, and I understand how that can definitely hurt some feelings. You know, you worked hard on something and nobody likes it, so they just make it their own. I can see that, but again, nothing personal, just my own set of beliefs. That, like, I can't drive this home enough. I'm not trying to force it on anybody. So that has been my progress on the Supernatural Sal. So my little itty bitty bit of haul is a needle minder. And if you're a Simpsons fan, you'll recognize this, especially if you like the older episodes of The Simpsons. Look at me being a beauty guru. Stupid light. But anyway, so it's Homer in his Moonbow. There's one episode of The Simpsons where Homer basically decides he doesn't want to go to work anymore, and he finds out that extreme obesity can qualify you for disability. So he makes the executive decision. There's the rabbit. There's baby girl. So he makes the executive decision to become very, very obese, so he doesn't have to go to work anymore. And then he ends up just wearing this moo-moo around. And I think it's freaking hilarious. And when I was a kid, my dad had the Simpsons Hit and Run game for the original Xbox. And I never played it like it should have been played. The game was basically like a more child-friendly Simpsons version of Grand Theft Auto. So I never actually did any of the missions or anything. I was way too young to really fully understand it. I think it was even rated like T or something. So I didn't understand it as far as like to do the missions. I just really enjoyed getting the different like Homer skins, I guess is what you call them. Just driving around Springfield, just hitting people and things. Oh my God, Patsy. Ma'am. So yeah, my favorite skin in that hit and run game was the Homer and his moo-moo. And I think it's a hilarious episode. And so yeah, when I saw that needle minder, it was a little bit more expensive than I normally would spend on a needle minder. But I had to have it. It's available on Etsy. I think her shop is like the Outlaw Stitcher. She's up in Canada, so it took a little bit to get here to Southwest Virginia, but I had no problem with it. And she had beautiful packaging. She had like stickers included, so I really enjoyed it. But yeah, just know that it does take a little bit of time to be shipped from Canada. So I mentioned that I had been dyeing fabric. So I've dyed a couple different pieces, just kind of learning about RIT dyes and how dye takes, because I had never worked with RIT dyes at all. So after a few experimental pieces for some projects I'd like to do down the road, I finally pulled out a project that I'm dying to get started on, and dyed a piece of fabric for it. So the project is by Foxwood Crossing Cross Stitch Designs, and that is the Witchy Woman Apothecary. Let me take this out of the plastic so you can see it. So I got this pattern from, oh, it's a shiny. There you go. So I got this pattern from Dixie Darlin down in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, when I was down there in May. And right as you walked in the door, she had this beautiful display of like recent releases from Foxwood Crossing, because Cynthia Stalcup Smelker, that is the designer of the Foxwood Crossing patterns, is located in Pigeon Forge. I believe she's the one that even owns the shop. I might very well be wrong though. But anyway, so I saw this, fell in love with it, and especially with the green fabric. I just loved it. The fabric itself, the called for, is great. I put it back with the floss, so now I can't see it. The model picture was stitched on Picture This Plus 28 count linen, pickled with 2 strands of floss. So pickled by Picture This Plus was what was called for. I love Picture This Plus fabric. After seeing it in person, I just didn't want to spend the money. It's honestly what it was. So I got some of my good old 16 count. So disruptive, Jesus. So I got some of my 16 count bright white craft store Ada and started dyeing. And this is what I ended up with. So this is Emerald from RIT Dye. So Emerald RIT Dye with the Canary Yellow. So I mixed it, got this beautiful bright green. Did a couple different like washes where I scrunched it up with different concentrations of the colors mixed together, and then I did one final wash of just yellow to get these like brighter line patches, and I'm really happy with it. I am so excited to stitch on this. I love the pattern itself, and I am so crazy for how this fabric came out. I did get a couple like dark spots. I'm not really sure what happened there, but I really don't mind it because it's supposed to look very modeled, very this and that, and like there's a couple splotches right there. Again, I'm not really sure how I got that. I was just kind of experimenting, messing around. So if anybody is experienced with rent dyes and can tell me how that happened, I would enjoy hearing it. So I've got this kitted up with a skein of the called for thread, and I need to get more of it before I get to stitching on this too hardcore. The called for is either Rainy Day from Classic Colorworks or DMC Coloris 4522 Canadian Night. And that's like the boards and everything, like the majority of it. Nobody's bothering her. She's like totally on her own, just flopping around, doing her thing. So I'm definitely going to get to this very, very soon. I'm so excited about that fabric. And recently in my house, I started, next to where I sit and stitch, a witchy wall for all of my Halloween and witch related patterns and just creepy patterns. And this is going to be added to that wall. If you haven't been to Michael's this Halloween shopping season at least, they have some awesome, just kind of witchy, creepy decorations that don't say Halloween on them. You could definitely use for Halloween, that's what they're meant to be used for, but that are just witchy. So like I got a palmistry sign that says like, you know, fortune telling on it, and it was this really cool long narrow one. And then I got this, I think it's like plaster, or maybe ceramic bottle, that has like a raven on it, and it says absinthe, and on like this old looking label, and it has this long wire loop on it, so that I got a fancy hook and hung that on the wall, and then hung the bottle from the hanger to kind of accent. Why are you getting mad? You have a whole room. Most bunnies have a cage. I mean, she has a cage to go back to. She's climbing on top of. She has a cage that's basically just like a litter box at a home base. But she has the rest of the room right now. So, very ungrateful. But yeah. So anyway, I'm going to add that to my witchy wall. I'll have to get some pictures of it when I get some stitching hung up. So then I really want to add to that witchy wall, some of the patterns that were in this year's Halloween special edition of Just Cross Stitch magazine. And there's one especially, I know I showed it last time, or whatever time that I got the magazine, that I wanted to stitch. It's the silhouette of a raven in front of a very bright, pretty moon. And I don't know if this is big enough, so I was just dying, experimenting. But this is what I really like to stitch that on. So again, you can see the selvage here. Again, I was just experimenting. So this is, I forget what the color name is, but it's their bright, true blue color from Red Dye, and then the pearl gray. That's kind of mixed in, and I think I mixed some yellow actually with that pearl gray. I think this would be awesome to do that raven on, because everything would show up. It would look really nice. So I'm going to measure and see if the raven will fit on there, and if not, then I'll just use it for some kind of Halloween small that can definitely be cut up into some decent ornaments. But I'd really like to do that raven on there. So yeah, I was just an experiment. I just had a little bit left over, and that's when they came out very nicely, and I do definitely want to stitch on this. So we're at 30 minutes. We are almost done. So going forward, I'll be damned if I'm not going to get some finishes. So the first project I am going to finish, whether it kills me or not, going forward, is, I have shown this many, many times, but my Raise Hell for Reproductive Rights by the Witchy Stitcher. So this is exactly where you saw it before. I have the entire first page done. I have all the outlining on the second page done. And then the third and fourth pages are just these little, it just brings the circle on down. Very, very simple. Honestly, the majority of it's already done. I'm definitely like, maybe not a majority of the way, but like halfway there. And this is stitched up very, very quickly. I honestly haven't put much time into it at all. This is on a piece of 28 count, Charles Craft Natural, I think it's just called Natural, like flecked linen. There's a closer picture of it, or view of it at least. This will for sure be added to my Witchy wall. Again, I've made this disclaimer before, not trying to force opinions on anybody. I just liked the design and liked what it stood for personally. So I am going to finish this in these next 2 weeks. I'll be damned. And then once I finish this, this is in my fall bag that I've shown before. I am going to, I believe, start another linen project and keep everything going. I am gonna start, I can't remember what it's called for the life of me. It's a turkey. It's a turkey. And it is by the same people that have done the Year in the Woods animals. I feel terrible. I can't remember the name of the designer. So I will have a new start next time too. So I'm very excited. Then the next project that I'm going to finish, whether it kills me or not, is in this Christmas bag. So guess what holiday it's for? And that is, Patsy is in the quilt fabric. The 2021, yeah, the 2021 Prairie Schooler Santa. So I've got part of the border already done to mark out like where it would sit on my fabric, and once again it is not centered at all, but I've got the majority of Big Hefty Santa done up here. So I just got to bring them on down the rest of the way, and then I pull out the pattern. I believe there's some more, yeah, so I've got to bring him the rest of the way down. I got to do the owl, there's the fox, a really freaky looking fox, honestly, a little evil eye. And then there's a little doodad, a little winter bird sitting on the fox's back, after I finish the raccoon. So I'd say I'm about halfway on this one too. And I think I worked on this for like 2 days. I mean, this came along really, really fast. So I know for sure that I will finish this very easily. Such a chaotic little creature. Since having her, all of the images of like bunnies peacefully hopping around in meadows are like totally ruined for me. Yeah. So many brain cells. Anyway, so those are my marching orders moving forward. To finish my Raise Hell for Reproductive Rights, to finish the 2021 Prairie Schooler Santa. So after I finish the Prairie Schooler Santa, I will have another new start. I have the 2020, 21, and 22 Santas in here. So then I'm going to go ahead and go back and start the 2020 Santa. So in case I haven't mentioned it before, but I'm pretty sure I have, I am just going to stitch the Santas for the years that I have been stitching. So I started stitching pretty much like 2 years ago, like from the day, really. Then I moved into my first apartment away from home, and I'm sorry, she's so distracting. But so yeah, I've got 3 Santas to stitch. I'm hoping against all hope that she keeps coming out with them so that I have more Santas to stitch. And then I will be going back and doing a 2000 Santa because that's the year I was born, and the 1997 Santa because that's the year my boyfriend was born, and he lives here too. So those are the plans moving forward, to do those stitches, get those starts. So next time will be a far more exciting Flosstube. Wish me luck on starting grad school tomorrow. I'm trying not to think about it because I'm just sick to my stomach. I think we're going to get ready, go over to the campus, walk around a little bit. Hopefully that'll kind of assuage some fears. But just going to play with Patsy for the rest of the day, snuggle my piggies. Oh my god, such chaos. But, so yeah, just do some relaxing things, get some more stitching in. Try to put it out of my mind. So by the next time you see me, I will officially be a big grown grad student. So, hopefully it won't last too long. Anyway, really appreciate you guys watching this video. As always, if you liked it, leave a like below. Let me know what you think. I really enjoy getting comments and hearing what people think about different patterns, or if you have any pattern suggestions for things that you think I might like, or finishing suggestions, or just tell me you hate me. I don't care. I like getting comments. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. 2 weeks. Bye-bye.